Hey everyone, welcome back to See You Next Thursday. I'm Willow of Pixie Retreat.
And I'm Tree.
And today, Teresa and I are doing a deep dive into a topic that has been heavily promoted in the health and wellness world, and that is the ketogenic diet. Is it really the life-changing solution that it claims to be, or is it just another iteration of an old, flawed idea? We're going to explore the history of high-protein, low-carb diets and the dangers of keto and why real healing comes from nourishing our bodies with the right foods.
Exactly, Willow. And we're also going to talk about how the ketogenic diet is just the latest version of the high-protein, low-carb diets that have been around for decades. And we'll also discuss the Medical Medium's 369 Liver Rescue Cleanse, which we are leading in monthly virtual cleanses, helping people to truly heal and feel better, helping myself, helping Willow to truly heal and feel better. We're so high on this cleanse. It's so powerful. And we're doing it monthly, virtually, in community. And it's just been really great. Our next cleanse starts Saturday. Mm-hmm. And we'll be doing it again in May. If you'd like to join, go to our website, pixieretreat.com.
So let's get started with the foundation of the keto diet. The main idea behind keto is by drastically reducing carbohydrates and increasing fat intake. By doing this, the body then supposedly enters into a state of ketosis where it burns fat for energy instead of glucose. But here's the kicker. Our bodies are not designed to run on fat as fuel. Our bodies are designed to run on glucose as fuel.
That's right, we run on glucose. And what is glucose, Willow?
Well, glucose is sugar. So sugar, the kind of sugar that our body actually needs to run on is the sugar from complex carbohydrates. It's reduced to complex carbohydrates. The complex carbohydrates are then reduced to glucose and fruit. Fruit being the major anti-ager and the major beauty food and the major repair food.
What are the CCCs?
The clean, critical, complex carbohydrates.
That's what we need.
That's what we need.
So glucose is our body's preferred energy source. And if we were truly able to sustain ourselves on fat alone, then an overweight person could simply stop eating and their body would just burn their fat stores indefinitely. But that's just not what happens. And without glucose, the body starts breaking down, the brain organs suffer, and people develop serious health issues as we advance. And we have to make adjustments. And, I think you like to look at it as each decade stepping into
a new version of ourselves
with more information. Because I know that we thought in past incarnations of self, we thought we had it all figured out.
Oh, sure. With our high fat, high raw diet, it's like we really did. And the truth is that we both really saw some major differences looking at myself in the mirror. Physically, I could see major differences. But over time, what began to happen was I was running down my adrenals. You were running down your adrenals. We both were tired all the time, even though we had this crazy schedule that we had to keep up with. And I think it really began to affect our brains.
And that was the premise of when we first went raw. It was gourmet raw. It was pizzas, burgers, tacos,
anything
wraps,
that we were eating normally in the standard
chocolate.
American diet. We were then taking those kinds of recipes and creating ones that were raw, that were uncooked.
Fat on fat, and we thought, this was the mode. We didn't
Holy
realize
Grail.
At the time
it was
that
the Holy Grail at the time.
basically a plant-based version of keto.
Totally.
So we kind of did it. I mean, I haven't done the meat version of keto.
No.
But and then once we discovered the medical medium information years ago, and it really started to sink in and resonate and seep into our consciousness, it was kind of game over, and we had to really just rethink everything. And not to say we don't eat fat, we do.
We do.
But it's in more combinations with more of the hydrating foods.
Right.
And so we're discussing keto, and we're going to discuss its alternative.
And we're not demonizing fat.
No.
Fat is necessary. It's very necessary. But what we're saying is that when you pull out all the complex carbohydrates and you're focused on increasing your fat intake, the outcome over time is not going to be a good one. we're just an accumulation of everything we've done, good, bad, and otherwise. And at certain points in time, that stuff becomes revealed. And it tends to become revealed by the time we're hitting our mid-40s, going into our 50s, and but certainly by our 60s. It's when you start to see people's major health issues come into play. So, what's really misleading is that some people feel temporarily better on the keto because they're cutting out processed junk. But that doesn't mean the diet itself is healthy. It's just removing some of the worst offenders, like refined sugar and ultra-processed foods. In the long run, the keto can cause severe damage, especially to the liver, the brain, and the adrenals.
And I think I really believe that there's probably a higher contingency of people that believe in the keto diet.
I think so, because we saw really fast results having this high intake of fat. We did. It blew my mind how fat fell off my body. However, I was doing damage to internal organs.
And we don't want to do that.
No, because that's where all these other health issues come from.
I mean, we do say that ignorance is bliss.
It is.
And sometimes I wish I didn't know that everything I did, because I walk outside and I just want to eat French fries, but I know better. So I figure out a way to make French fries not
a healthier version of something that you loved.
Yeah. So, we understand that the 369 and everything is might be more of an extreme version, and more people are apt to do the keto. And we're not really trying to assuage anyone. We're just sharing what we understand about keto.
Do you mean we're not trying to sway anyone?
Assuage?
No, that's not the right word, I don't think.
I haven't had my heavy metal detox smoothie yet. But so the ketogenic diet isn't new. It's just the latest version of the high protein, low carb diets that had been around for decades. This has all started back in the 1930s when the meatpacking industry and government pushed the idea that protein was king, and come to find out that super hydrating healing foods like leafy greens, vegetables, fruits, even like steamed organic potatoes and stuff, that's the queen. And we need to honor and lift up the queen.
And we all know the queen is the true ruler. When there's a king and a queen in a household, we all know who the true ruler of that household is. Let's get real, peeps.
Are you a queen?
We're both queens.
There can be more than one queen.
Always.
Before that, though, alternative health practitioners knew that fruits, leafy greens, and vegetables were the foundation of good health. So obviously there's been a disconnect, and maybe that disconnect was centered around money.
You know it. It's all about lobbying. Whoever has the most money is going to push the agenda. So here we are trying to take something back. And then let's talk about Dr. Robert Atkins, who in the 1970s popularized the Atkins diet, which essentially is an early version of the keto. Atkins promoted an extremely high fat, high protein, and low carb diet, claiming it was the answer to weight loss and health problems. But here's what people don't talk enough about, and that's what happened to Dr. Atkins himself.
Exactly. I mean, Dr. Atkins suffered from serious health issues, including heart problems. When he passed away, reports surfaced he had heart disease, high blood pressure, and significant weight gain towards the end of his life. I mean, how much did you say that he weighed?
He weighed 278 pounds at the end of his life.
That's a big boy.
Mm-hmm. Pushing a diet that in the end, this was the result of it, because it does have this backlash. And we're seeing right now, the Atkins diet, the keto diet is literally the Atkins diet repackaged for a new generation of people.
Yeah, it's just rebranded for a new audience who doesn't know.
Who doesn't know him, right? And you do see results for a while.
So yeah.
Anyways, sorry about that. Anyway, something else that happened in the 70s was the war on fat. When doctors realized that high-fat diets were contributing to heart disease, they then began pushing low-fat diets, but they didn't distinguish between unhealthy fats and good fats, or what our bodies actually needed.
And that's such an important point. People started avoiding all fats, including the ones with healing properties like coconut oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, and olives. And these foods are incredibly nourishing and support brain function, hormones, and cellular health. But instead what happened is that people started consuming highly processed, fat-free products filled with artificial ingredients that did even more harm. And this is when all these fat-free products came on the scene. I remember it was a long time ago, but it was like SnackWells and...
I mean, we still see lean cuisine, but all of these products, it's like where they pull out the fat. When you pull out the fat, then what you're doing is you're adding more sugar. And the sugar, trust me, is not the good sugars like fruits and, you know, like fruit and honey and maple and dates and things like that. They're adding refined sugars in.
Or whatever else.
Which then store as fat.
The processed food ingredients that are in there that you don't even recognize too in a lot of products. And then, you know, it's low calorie, low fat, but it's just has no redeeming qualities.
It's not nutrition. So the real issue was never just the fat or the carbs. It was the quality of the food. Natural whole food sources of fat are beneficial, but the high fat, high protein diets that eliminate critical, clean carbohydrates, like fruits and starchy vegetables, set people up for long-term health issues.
And this is where we get into the sick care system, which most people call the healthcare system. And it's unfortunate that the current state is based on like turn and burn. It's based on numbers, lots of zeros.
Well, most of us are going to doctors that work for corporations. And when we are talking about corporations, we all know that the bottom line for corporations is paying out the shareholders. It's not about personal health. It's not about us as human beings being taken care of. It's about something else altogether.
So shout out to all the functional medicine,
all the naturopaths out there
that are really sharing the good information and valuing people over profits.
Yeah, we are so high on you. Thank you.
You know, but in terms of the care that people need, sometimes it's just not as accessible to access these people, because a lot of us are moving out of fear and concern, or we have to do what the doctors tell us to do, and you know, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to tell you to go home and eat some butter lettuce and some steamed asparagus and like eat your bananas and stuff like that.
And keep your fat intake low.
That's where we need to overhaul with what's happening. So to empower people to kind of take charge and step in and reclaim their health, because nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah, it's an inside job,
you know. And fortunately, we have so much information, and there's so many amazing books out there. And the medical medium has how many books that really offer this insight into sharing recipes and taking charge of your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health. And from his perspective, the mainstream medical system isn't designed to help people truly heal. It's designed to manage symptoms with medications, surgeries, and treatments that don't address the root cause of dis-ease.
Think about that, dis-ease. And to that point, so many chronic illnesses today, autoimmune conditions, neurological disorders, digestive disorders, are tied to underlying pathogens, viruses, unproductive bacteria, and toxic heavy metals in the body. But instead of addressing these root causes, the sick care system offers band-aid solutions that keep us stuck in cycles of illness and medications.
Which leads to fear.
Totally.
And doubt.
And doubt.
And worry.
Totally.
And debt.
And debt.
Medical debt.
Seriously.
So this is why we're going to talk about the power of the 369 liver cleanse, which in theory is basically, here's the keto and here's the 369 liver cleanse.
They're 180 from each other.
The keto with its high fat is really doing a number on the liver
and the brain. And
the 369 liver cleanse, which is super hydrating and healing, leafy greens, vegetables, steamed potatoes, and vegetables, more vegetables and fruits. It's starving off the pathogens, viruses, unproductive bacteria, heavy metals, and stuff in your system through the powers of eating and drinking super hydrating foods. So you're not starving or anything like that. So it's kind of like it's restructuring the way you think about eating food. So 369, I'm gonna take care of my liver. The keto, I'm gonna tox out and overburden my liver, which is gonna lead to anger issues.
And illness.
Sluggishness.
Illness.
Probably frustration. Maybe some weight loss in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But as you progress, if there's a high-fat diet continuing on with lots of meat and dairy and highly processed foods, when we say sluggishness, it's because if you think of high fat, it's restricting. It's restricting the flow in your body. It's creating backups. It's not allowing the nutrients to move through, and then the healing foods are flushing and pushing through. So yeah.
And this is the main reason that we're leading these monthly virtual 369 medical medium liver cleanses. And so this is, so many people are struggling with fatigue, brain fog, weight issues, and chronic conditions because their livers are struggling under the burden of all these toxins. When we nourish our bodies with the right foods, fruits, leafy greens, vegetables, hydrating foods in general, we give our liver a chance to heal. And when the liver gets healed, everything starts to come back into equilibrium.
Well, the liver's just not talked enough in terms of being
it's the workhorse of the body.
Being the basis of a lot of issues that people experience, autoimmune, arthritis, eczema, psoriasis.
Menopausal symptoms. It's like all of it. It's all of it. It's all leads into
neurological issues.
Seriously. It's the liver just being overburdened. Every single thing, every single toxin that we take in, it's filtered through that system. And when the liver is just, it's like burdened with having to constantly process fat, it can't even deal with these other jobs that it's got. It's, the beauty of this cleanse is that it's a short cleanse. It's literally 9 days plus 2 days coming off. And it's a reset. You begin to think differently. You not only feel different, you begin to think different, and you also begin to look different.
Or it's a lifestyle change entirely, and there's ways to keep it moving forward and still enjoy your fat.
Exactly.
But doing it with more understanding and
more
compassion
mindfulness
for your systems.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you really dive into it, it becomes really empowering and uplifting. And the better you feel, the more you want it.
It's true.
So you can totally change your whole lifestyle around this eating this way, and watch any number of your issues go away.
Yeah.
Chronic issues.
We're not talking about completely eliminating fat. Now, we are talking about it on days 4 through 10, actually 4 through 9, 10 and 11 are days coming off, but 4 through 9, so literally 5 days, we're talking about taking fat out and the benefit that it gives your liver and in essence, your whole being.
And the best part of it is that people who do this cleanse will feel results. And we always say, like, if you stick to the protocols and the guidelines, you will see results.
Yes.
And you'll see them in the way that is specific to you.
Yes.
Because we all have different things that we're working on. And for me, it's like more energy, clearer skin, better digestion, even relief from chronic symptoms. People experience that they had forever.
Yeah.
And it's incredible what happens when we give the body what it truly needs, and that what it truly needs is healing, hydrating foods.
Yeah, so cool. So let's kind of go back a little bit to the ketogenic diet. Let's go a little bit deeper into the truth around this diet. If you looked into the trendy diets of today, you've probably come across at least one diet that focuses on getting enough protein and minimizing carbohydrates. The truth is that there are many, many high protein, low carb diets that have been trendy over the last few decades. Today's ketogenic diet is just one of the last iterations of this high protein, low carb diet trend that did start back in the 70s.
Exactly. I mean, while there are some short-term benefits of any diet that eliminates processed foods like candy, cake, cookies, and fried food, there is only so far a high protein, low carb diet that it can take you when it comes to true healing. So you can do it and experience benefits, but to an extent. Mm-hmm. And then I think, you'll have to have your own experience. Or if you already have, then maybe you're like seeking something else.
Yeah.
The reality is this way of eating, this keto way, is just misinformed. It's harmful, and it's the same misinformation and harmfulness as it was when it started many decades ago.
I mean, like we said earlier, it's just been repackaged for a generation of people that weren't around when the Atkins diet was going on. And so you really do see when you're seeing, and this is no shade to anybody, because it is just a journey and we're all just moving along, trying to figure out what's best. And let's be real, the 20s and 30s are all about trying to look your best. And that's really, it's like that's who tends to be pushing this, and maybe some early 40s. But by the time we hit our mid 40s, we began to see the accumulation of everything that we've done over time, good, bad, and otherwise. You know what I mean? And so that is the time frame that we start to develop dis-ease within our bodies and our minds. And so then all this stuff that we were doing, now we're trying to undo this stuff, trying to figure out what the next thing is. So you might experience temporary relief or weight loss on the keto diet, but it's important to understand that these improvements, they really are short-lived, especially for people with chronic illness, autoimmune disease, or neurological conditions. This diet does not address the root cause of any health problems. It simply masks symptoms. Keep that in mind, people.
Same with pharmaceuticals.
It's exactly.
Same with any of our vices.
Yeah.
That we have. And here's where the keto diet really goes wrong. Following a keto diet, whether it's plant-based or animal-based, is damaging for your body and your brain. And that's kind of hardcore to think about.
So you kind of have to hear that. Plant-based and animal-based. Both of them.
High fat. We want to just be more mindful of our fat consumption in general if we want to find relief for any number of ailments that we're experiencing. The keto diet, the plant-based version of it, it does not heal chronic conditions. It just creates more long-term problems. This is why it's crucial to understand why the ketogenic diet is inherently flawed. And that's both sides of it. It's the plant-based ketogenic, which I feel like just came to our awareness not too long ago.
I mean, literally, like
never looked at it that way.
2016 or 2015, somewhere in there is when the light bulbs were going off, and it was like, oh wow, okay, we have a whole business based on this. Okay, wow, and the foods, like I said before, I think I said this before, it really was better. If you were eating a standard American diet, going over this bridge, it was changing ideas, changing notions. And that is always better. It's like we got to take those steps to lead us to that next destination, right? So these were the steps that we took, and this is the destination that we've arrived at.
Yeah, and we still have our fat, but we also added in with more of the hydrating, healing foods, and be more conscious of the filler foods.
Yeah.
Even the fat-free ones.
Yeah, I mean, where the keto diet is really focused on drastically reducing carbohydrates and increasing fat intake, the idea that it causes the body to go into ketosis and burn fat for energy instead of glucose. But the truth is our bodies don't run on fat, we run on glucose. So how is that really working? Is it working? It doesn't sound like it's even possible.
I mean, exactly. Because if you're eating any amount of natural sugar from foods like nuts, seeds, avocado, or green juices, you're still consuming sugar. And this idea that the body can flip to burning fat as fuel is flawed. If we were able to truly run on fat, then we'd be able to live indefinitely by just burning our fat stores. So that's just not how our bodies work.
It's not. It's not just about fat. It's about the quality of what we eat. Our bodies need those clean, critical carbohydrates, the CCCs, like fruits, starchy vegetables, potatoes, we love you, leafy greens, and herbs. These foods are essential for long-term health and healing. But by avoiding these essential foods, people are not addressing the root causes of their health issues. Instead, they're creating a vicious cycle of imbalanced health. And we all really, I think happiness is really just about balance. You know what I mean? Moderation, balance.
Well, it's mind, body, spirit.
There we go. There we go. So to wrap this up today, if you've been considering keto, please understand that it's not the miracle diet that it's made out to be. It's just another version of the Atkins diet, which led people down a dangerous path decades ago. High fat, high protein, and low carb diets do not support long-term health.
Instead, the key to true healing is focused on healing, hydrating foods that nourish the body, starve off pathogens, and support the liver. Yeah. And if you're ready to experience real transformation, join us for our next 369 Liver Rescue Cleanse. We'd love to support you on your healing journey and watch you make some powerful shifts in your overall transformation towards your highest, most beautiful version of self.
Yeah, for your optimal health. You know, we just really want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you liked this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and try to listen to our videos all the way through. It really helps us grow our channel. And if you've ever tried the keto diet, drop a comment. We'd love to hear about what any struggles have been with health issues, or maybe things that you thought were great. It's always great to have a discourse around these topics.
Yeah,
it's fun.
We welcome a healthy debate.
Yeah,
and
totally.
We have views and our own perspective, and I would love to hear yours too. If you've had success, if you've had not success, and if you're looking for a new pathway to healing, which is maybe why you're watching this video. Yeah. But anyway, we're not trying to sell you. We are
kind of trying to sell you.
We're trying to sell you in the context of we want you to really take charge yourself. And that's how we're trying to sell you, because this information is just very transformative, and we can't do this for you. We can only hold the lantern and guide the path. Yeah. And thank God that we have this information from the medical medium to share, and that the more people are seeking it out around the world, which is pretty incredible. So we're just here with our lanterns on the mountain,
just creating some light so that we can start to see a little bit more clearly. And if you have any questions about our 369 liver cleansing, please reach out or go to www.pixieretreat.com. We are here to help. And we look forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Get you some.
Peace out, everyone.